What's up, everybody? Taking advantage of today's great weather and doing an oil change on the Rav4. So what you're going to need is your oil filter tool for the Toyota. Some people say only get the Toyota one. I got the aftermarket one. It worked fine for my last oil change. It takes either a 21mm socket or it'll fit a 1/2-inch drive. You'll also need a 14mm socket for the oil drain plug. You want your oil. I like going with the mobile one. But the Rav takes 0W20. And you'll need your filter. And I just got a wick. It looks like this. And it comes with replacement O-rings. And there's a drain that you can use before taking the filter out to make your life easier. This isn't something you need to do, but it is useful. Breaking the seal on the oil fill will allow the oil to drain quicker because it won't have to bring air back up through the drain hole. So it's not a requirement, personal preference. Oil drain plug is right there. Here's your oil pan. Actually, there's your filter. If you're looking at the oil pan from the front of the vehicle, which is the way I'm doing it, since I'm not getting up underneath it, you're gonna loosen the drain plug up towards not too bad. So we'll let that drain and come back to it in a minute. I'm gonna attempt to take the filter off. So as you can see, there's some grooves. I'm just lining up by feel. Now I'm not draining it first, only because I've never done it. So we're gonna investigate together if I can ever get this hooked up. I actually, in all my brilliance, ended up breaking the filter casing. One thing you want to check is the oil drain plug. It's magnetic, and if you see any metal on the tip of it, you could be in trouble. A little bit might be okay, but that means something's wrong, something's grinding. And there's none. So that's a very good sign. So all right, we're gonna put this drain plug back in, pull the oil and filter out, and we're gonna inspect the filter casing together right down there and figure out how that plug would work for next time. All right, so what you want to do is get a 3/8 drive, pop that off, get a pick, or in this case I'm using a flathead screwdriver, pop the O-ring off. I'm going to replace that. They give you a new one. There you go, pop the O-ring off. And you're going to shove this in. That will drain the filter. You got to pull this O-ring, and you get 2 new ones with the filter. We'll swap it out. Alright, so you want to take a little oil from your drain, or I took a cup full because I'm going to show you the difference in oils after. And just give it a little bit of lube. Same here. Put this hand tight. I don't have a torque wrench out. 13 newtons, not much. There was very little on there to begin with, and it is sealed from the bottom. So this is literally just a drain that you push up, and that will let the oil drain out. So hand tight won't fail you here. Gonna throw the filter in. back in, and we're gonna go install it back on the car. Oil filter's in, and don't forget to tighten your drain plug. Now, if you're like me, I usually make a mess with this. So I got a clean funnel, cleaned it yesterday with soapy water. We're gonna fill it. This engine takes just about the full 5. We want to double check real quick, make sure we didn't screw up and we have anything leaking. Those are spills from my mess, so nothing new is leaking right now. That is a good sign. So now let's go start this up. All right, so far so good. No oil lights. Now let's go check. See if there's any leaks underneath. Did we blow anything? No new leaks, that's a good sign, always good. Now we want to check oil level. Pull the dipstick, wipe the dipstick off. Sorry, I'm learning the one-handed game. Replace the dipstick. Pull the dipstick out. Check your level. So as you can see, we are a little bit low. So let's top it off. So over here we have the old oil that just came out. I mean, look at that. That is a dark brown, but it's not bad. I mean, if you look at it on the edge, it's not thick. It runs good. Still, like, it's not all sludge or anything like that. Like, this oil still, no worries. But here you see nice and clear. Looking good, not dirty, so it did its job. It was time. So I had to just make an emergency phone call to the expert mechanic I know. Packing up for the night, and I noticed that I do in fact have a decent drip going on here. Right there, you can see it. So called my dad. He's a mechanic for 40 plus years. And I learned that you can take the filter off and you only lose the oil that's in the filter. So that was awesome. Took it off, cleaned it real good, checked the gaskets, everything looked good. Figured maybe I put it on wrong, there was something dirty, couldn't get a tight seal. Whatever. So took it apart, put it back together. It's still doing it. So now I'm gonna have to go off to O'Reilly's, get a new gasket. Actually, I'm gonna try the old gasket first and see if that fixes the problem. And because you can see the oil's coming from up here and not this area. So we're gonna go try that right now, and hopefully using the old gasket fixes it and we're good for the night. But if not, I'm gonna have to make a trip to O'Reilly's and figure this out. But it's always something these days. I ended up putting the old gasket back in, and when I threaded the filter back, I actually feel it creating the seal you want versus the new gasket. I could thread it pretty easily all the way up by hand, and so it didn't create the same seal. And when I compared the two gaskets, like one on top of each other, the old one looked to be just a little bit thicker. So I think my dad recommends ordering some of those gaskets directly from Toyota, so you get the Toyota gasket and just use that instead of the aftermarket ones. So that is probably what I'll do the next time it needs oil change, in 5,000 miles or so. So that'll probably be about the fall/winter time. But it's back together. It is golden, and this is why you double check your work before you call it good. But all right, it's time to go eat. The family's hungry, I'm hungry. This took longer than expected, but another lesson learned, and that's all that matters. Have a good night.